Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Zach. Today we're going to be discussing sports, as we tend to do a lot on this channel. But today we're going to be talking about what are some of the largest influences on sports in the past 5 years. We're going to be covering 3 topics, one being media, one being technology, and one being gambling and sports betting. First, we're going to discuss the evolution of technology in sports throughout the past 5 years. We're going to talk about the NFL. Technology and the NFL, they go hand in hand. If you watch TV, you know on a Sunday that there's always going to be some kind of next-gen stats is one of the most common things that you hear a lot. Now, if you don't know what next-gen stats are, it's basically a little chip that they insert into the player's shoulder pads, which can track speed, acceleration, momentum, and stuff like that. I'm sure with players like Tyreek Hill or fast players like that, you'll see stuff like, hey, this guy ran 22 miles an hour, and that is where the next-gen stats comes from. In the MLB, you'll see stuff like the StatCast, where things are sometimes measured in the StatCast era. The StatCast era has really changed how we view pitchers in the MLB. A lot of it tracks speed of pitches, a spin rate, a launch angle when it comes to hitters, whether that's, that'd be a 45-degree angle off of a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Exit velo would say like 115. That's probably... chances are that might be a home run in most ballparks. Back to pitchers with the StatCast system, it's helped a lot of pitchers who have used spin rate to their advantage, or it's also hurt a lot of players when spin rate wasn't necessarily their strong suit. In soccer, we've also seen some technological advancements with the VAR, the Video Assistant Referee. We've seen this in the World Cup, we've seen it in the Champions League, we've seen it in the Premier League, La Liga, all the stuff like that. So with what this does is it basically assists the referee in making some kind of call, like an offsides penalty, any cards that need to be made, or even goals. Another addition in the NBA, there's something called the Second Spectrum Player Tracker. So what this is, it's a camera and artificial intelligence working together and basically tracking a player's move 25 times per second. Similar to what we see in the NFL, this tracks player speed, shot probability, or even defensive spacing. Through these past 5 years, technology has definitely impacted every sport, and I think it will continue to impact sports as we move further into the future. We'll next talk about media and where that has taken sports over the past 5 years. One of the most obvious things that you see in media and sports over the past 5 years has to be streaming services. Probably around 2020, COVID was about the big shift of when everything moved from cable. Here's channels like ESPN, Fox, CBS, TNT, stuff like that. And it's been starting to move over to streaming services like Amazon Prime, Apple TV, ESPN Plus, where you have to pay for 17 different streaming services to be able to watch every game from your team. I'll think of one example. Last night I was trying to find the Royals and Padres, and it's on Apple TV, and I don't have Apple TV, so I just have to watch the play-by-play. Going back to what we said with the technology in sports, a lot of that also translates to the media. We just talked about the StatCast era in the MLB, where you'll see a lot of that stuff come right after a pitch happens, after a swing happens. With the NFL's next-gen stats, you'll also see sprint speeds and all the next-gen stats coming into the media, where the fans are starting to learn more about that as well. And of course, in the NBA, occasionally you'll see after a crazy shot has been made or something, let's say the Tyrese Halliburton game winner in Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Final seconds, no fouls to give. Halliburton looking. Halliburton driving, pulls up, jump shot. It's good! It's good!
Still not over that. You'll see the shot probabilities of something like that happening. Another common theme that we kind of seen maybe 10 or 15 years ago that's starting to be a lot more prevalent is athletes are starting to become the media. Stuff like Uninterrupted, The Pat McAfee Show, New Heights with Travis and Jason Kelce. You'll see guys that are retired or close to retirement starting to take into the media side. Of course, about 15 years ago, we saw this with Charles Barkley and Shaq and Kenny Smith on Inside the NBA on TNT. Rest in peace. Legendary show. The primary news source for almost all of sports now is social media. I will most commonly head to Twitter if I ever want to see some kind of update or something, or I'll head to Real Sports, which is an up-and-coming sports app that has almost anything you could ever want. Not sponsored, download it in the App Store. Insane app, by the way. But in the past 5 years, I would say some of the biggest changes that we've seen with media is the switching from cable to streaming services, athletes and fans running the content creation, and the transition and learning of next-gen stats, StatCast, all of that stuff that fans get to learn in media. Last thing I'll talk about, and probably one of the biggest impacts on a lot of people, a lot of sports fans, has been gambling and sports betting. If you go back about 5 or 7 years ago, not many people are sports betting. It's illegal in most states, probably outside of Nevada. And as of 2025, over 30 states in the United States have legalized sports betting. On every sporting broadcast that you'll see some kind of ad for whether that's FanDuel, DraftKings, ESPN Bet, BetMGM, Caesars. I could go on. And the craziest thing about it is all of it can be done on your phone. You can see stuff like real-time odds, parlays, prop bets, same-game combos. All of that jazz is just at your fingertips, pretty much. With the sports betting integration, you'll see a lot of data-driven, real-time wagering, stuff like that. And almost everywhere you go, you see some kind of odds, betting odds. Whether that's tomorrow night's Game 7, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers, the Thunder might have minus 300 and the Pacers might be plus 400 to win the game, which means the Oklahoma City Thunder are projected to win the game. Save us, Lugens Dort.
Carlisle thought he did. Dort has to hoist one up, and he knocks it down!
With NIL regulation becoming more common around college sports, sports betting has also become common in the college scene. It's been pretty controversial for bettors and college students and college players. There's been a lot of scandals going on. In 2024, we saw one of the biggest gambling and betting scandals we have ever seen in all of sports. And this comes from the number 25 recruit in high school in the 2017 high school basketball recruiting class, Jontay Porter, younger brother of Michael Porter Jr. This name may not ring a bell for the casual fan outside of this huge scandal that happened, but he was in the NBA he played 2 seasons. But the reason this bench warmer was getting all of the publicity was for the wrong reasons. On March 25th, 2024, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver launched an investigation on questionable betting and questionable odds regarding Jontay Porter. Long story short, Jontay Porter and a few of his buddies were betting the overs and unders when Jontay would play games, resulting in him getting a lifetime ban from the NBA. This even is starting to result in some criminal charges on Jontay Porter. As we all know, one of the biggest risks of betting and gambling is addiction. You'll see everywhere on every website that has some kind of sports betting to say bid responsibly or bet responsibly, but you can only do so much. A lot of apps nowadays now have timeout periods where somebody might be spending too much, which does help a lot. But when it comes down to it, I don't think sports betting is going to go anywhere from any sports league ever. It's always been there, and it's probably going to be there for the rest of time. Throughout just the past 5 years, we have seen a crazy change in all of sports with technology, gambling, all of that jazz, and it's completely changed the way we see sports today. Sports will always continue to evolve, and I'm along for the ride. I'm excited to see where it goes. Looks like that's all I got for y'all. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. Appreciate it. Helps out a lot. And we'll see you guys next time. In honor of the finals going on, I want to shout out Thunder legend Gabriel Deck. Only the real ones remember him.